Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion with me, Pastor Amanda. It is Monday morning, and unfortunately, I'm still having some internet problems at the church. So I'm going to make this kind of short and sweet, but still have a devotion in the midst of the chaos, so to speak. So today we are looking at chapter 46 of Genesis. And we've kind of got this wonderful feeling happening now because Jacob Israel is able to now go to Egypt and see his son Joseph, who he's thought was dead. So we just kind of see how the family's packing up. And if you remember last week, I actually asked a question. I was like, was it such a good idea for Joseph to bring his family to Egypt? But within the first few verses of chapter 46, we kind of find the answer there to that question I had. And it says that in a dream, God spoke to Jacob again and says, I will make of you a great nation in Egypt. And so, whether or not it was a good idea for Joseph to bring the family to Egypt, God's blessing was still going to go forward with this blessing. And so God can still work again in the midst of what's happening and other people's decisions. So, and I think that's really the key piece to today for me is that whatever decision is made and whatever you decide to do, God's blessing and promise can go with you, even as plans change, and even if it's not exactly how God wanted it to happen, God can still make it happen. So I find that to be very comforting today. And so then we have a whole list of all these names of the families. So we see the genealogy. So this is important for us to know that God's working within the whole family. And then we find out that Joseph has his own sons. And then they finally all pack up and they move to Egypt. Now, there is one little thing at the end that's kind of interesting, is that Joseph tells his family that when Pharaoh asks them what their occupation is, he says that they need to say that they are keepers of livestock because shepherds are abhorrent to the Egyptians. And so we have this moment in which we realize that there's still this animosity between the people, but they're trying to find ways to make it. But there's this, it's kind of like back to Abraham and Sarah. It's kind of like that, this much of a lie. How Sarah is my sister, but she's also my wife, kind of forgot that part. And so we are keepers of livestock. They just happen to be sheep. So we see this kind of issue of the challenge of cultures still clashing in our Bible. But that's just something I noticed today. But what we get out of this, God's blessing, God's promise can go with us wherever we're going. And that gives me a little bit of hope, faith, and joy to start out my week. And definitely as I try to figure out the internet. So have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.